Well, welcome everyone. Yeah, we made it to episode number 7. This is I Am Nylis podcast talking about all sorts of stuff that interests Nylis. We talk about different things, whether it's in the gig economy or whether it's last episode was really nice. We only talked about a Memorial Day. It was a special episode. In this episode, we're going to go into just a very short thing of gig economy, but we're going to talk a little bit more seriously about selfless service. Kind of a Memorial Day theme, kind of a theme that we're going to run into. But we'll get going and start this off and see where we get to. All right, we'll be back after the break. Have you ever wanted to express your beliefs by wearing a baseball cap? Many of us wear caps. Many of us fly flags in front of our house. Well, our friends at us-specialties.com have a great selection of what you want to have. Anything from military to first responder to faith or religious or even Second Amendment caps or flags you might want. You need to go out and check out us-specialties.com. and put in discount code I Am Nylis for a huge discount of 40% off everything store-wide. That's an amazing discount from an amazing company. Go out there and check them out at us-specialties.com. And don't forget the discount code I Am Nylis for 40% off. You will be helping veterans. They thank you. Just remember that you can reach us always at info@iamnylis.com or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/iamnylis, or on Twitter @iamnylis. Welcome back, everyone. So, let's get on the topic of selfless service. What does selfless service mean to you? What does it mean to the person next to you? What does it mean to your friends, relatives? It means a lot of things to a lot of different people. Some people see it as something military because they hear it a lot. Some people see it in a biblical sense. It is referenced, and some people reference it in different religions, not just the Bible, but also in other religions. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about religion, but this all ties in together. So let's start out with the most obvious, the military or the Army, since I was in the Army. Well, the Army's definition, plain and simple, is that selfless service is to put the welfare of the nation, the Army, and your subordinates before your own. Plain and simple. You go out there and you do something for the nation, the Army, or your subordinates, and you don't think about getting any gain from that. That's not something that you go out and look for. I'd like to quote Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack Tilley. He had a good little quote here. So, quote, selfless service can't be measured. How do you put a price tag or a dollar sign on the sacrifices that NCO and soldiers make today? You've got to look at the full spectrum of what we expect our soldiers and our non-commissioned officers to do. But let's also remember that it isn't all about money. None of us are in this for the money. Soldiers deserve every bit of pay and entitlements our Army and our nation can give them. But being a soldier is much more than that. It's pride, it's patriotism, it's service to our nation. Sense of purpose is a primary factor for high morale and the individual soldier's knowledge that he or she is making a difference. End quote. I think that really sums it up. as far as the military side of it goes, he just zeroed in on exactly what a soldier feels. I mean, they're doing this for patriotism. They're doing it for all that kind of stuff. So we need to take a look at maybe something a little bit different. In my research, I did a little bit of research to see how different people and commented on this, or different people thought about this, because I have my own views, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But I did find Mahatma Gandhi and how he translated something and wrote about this. And I'm just going to read a short excerpt from this, and it happens to be an excerpt from the Gita according to Gandhi. And it's also interesting. Quote, "While acting, remember that action leads to bondage unless it is performed in a spirit of sacrifice. Sacrifice means exerting oneself for the benefit of others. In a word, it means service. And where service is rendered for service's sake, there is no room for attachment, likes and dislikes. Perform such a sacrifice, render such a service." So he's also saying that going out and sacrificing and doing something for someone else and not worrying about what you're going to get out of it, just doing it to help. And I think that sums up selfless service. I think a lot of people, when they think selfless service, they think of the same thing. So one of the things that you see selfless service and you hear about it is veterans organizations, or just any organization, actually. Any organization that you might go to and be part of, and you're helping out your church, your lodge, your whatever organization you might be helping out, and could be the baseball team or anything like that, or even your school band that you're helping out. And when you're going to help them out, you're helping them. Some people are helping them because their kids are part of the organization. The kids are part of band, so they're going to help out because that's their duty. But I've seen parents out there that their kids graduated a few years ago, and they're still out there, and they're still helping. They're helping because they love to help the organization or the band program, and they want those kids to have every chance to succeed that they can. So that is a definition of selfless service. They're out there helping them, and they're not expecting a lot out of it. It's not like they have a child in school anymore. They're not doing it because of the child. They're doing it because they like helping, and they know there's a need out there. Well, another angle of this, I guess, to consider is some people would say, if you were walking down the street and you notice that a stranger's parking meter has just expired, and you put some change in the meter, and the person doesn't get a fine because you helped them out, but you didn't stick around for any gratitude or anything like that. You just saw it. You had some change in your pocket. You threw it in the meter for the person and kept walking. You knew you weren't going to receive any, reward for it, in the sense of someone wasn't going to run up and say, "Hey, thank you," and you were going to get some gratification from that. But maybe you did get some gratification just knowing that you helped somebody. You helped out that person, and they might not even realize that you helped them. But, that might be some gratification. That might be something that drove you to do it. Or just outright, you didn't expect anything in return and didn't care. just saw something that needed to be fixed in that case, and you fixed it for that person and moved on. Now, on the other hand, you have some people that go out and they pay it forward, as people are saying. Some people will say that's a kind of a variation of selfless service, but people are getting some gratification out of that. They're getting that feeling of, I just helped somebody. And if it's something that they do anonymously, actually, I've done that before. We were sitting in a frying pan, and I noticed a fella sitting over there, and he had a World War II hat on. And he looked pretty good for his age, I'm sure, if he's been a veteran of World War II. I went up and I chit-chatted with him, told him I was a veteran too, and we chit-chatted for a few seconds. I didn't want to interrupt his meal too much. And when we were leaving, my wife and I were just about ready to leave. When we were leaving, I told the lady that I wanted to pay for his meal. I wanted to pay for that meal because I wanted him to have something, and I didn't care. I mean, that, I didn't go up there and say, hey, I just bought your meal, or, all that kind of stuff. And yes, maybe I got some gratification out of it because I felt good to help that man. And he did a lot to help our freedom and to support our freedoms and fight for our freedoms. And so that's why I felt that doing that little bit, paying that guy's meal, it didn't matter how much it cost. He was there with his wife. It didn't matter. We just did it and moved on and just left. So that, in some ways, some people would consider that a selfless service, where I did something for someone else and didn't expect anything from it, didn't want anything from it. I just wanted to help that man. So back, I want to spin back around a little bit to the organizations and helping organizations out. But I'm going to get back to that after the break. I'm going to take a short break, and then we'll be back after the break, and then we'll continue. And I'll go on to talk about that little piece I was going to talk about. Okay, we'll be back after the break. Buzz driving is drunk driving. And if you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. I've seen this many times driving Lyft and Uber, and you need to be careful and look out for these warning signs. Over texting, talking too much, taking too many selfies, oversharing, chugging water to sober up, turning the music down to focus, chewing gum, popping mints, eating snacks to soak up the alcohol, drinking coffee to sober up, splashing water on your face, doing jumping jacks. When you spot your buzzed warning sign, call a cab or a rideshare, a car or a friend when it's time to go home. Just don't drive home. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council. Well, welcome back, everyone. So where was I? Yes, we were talking about selfless service, and I was going to tell you a little bit about my perspective, some more of it anyway. And so when you're in an organization and they have some kind of a deal going on, whether it's a pig roast or chili feed or pancake feed or whatever the case may be, and they're looking for volunteers to help out, and you know that you have a couple things you need to get done that day or that weekend, and you're like, well, I don't know if I can help. I got some, it depends on if I get my stuff done. I'll stop by if I can. Well, the people organizing that, obviously they can't count on that you're going to be there. You haven't fully committed. And so they plan accordingly, and There's many of those people that are organizing that work double and triple shifts to make sure that there's enough people there that they're working, that it happens. But if you think about it for a little bit, that things that you had to do, felt you had to do, you're sure that you had to do them. If you would have took out an hour and a half of that time, of possibly where you weren't exactly doing everything that you needed to get done and you were piddling around doing something else or watching the program, and you went down and you helped out for that hour and a half or something and then left and went ahead and went about and got your stuff done, you really helped out that organization by doing that. You were helping them fulfill what they were trying to accomplish. And that little bit of time really didn't detract from your day and what you were accomplishing or trying to accomplish. It did not take away from that. So, if anything, going over there and helping, seeing all the happy faces, the kids, whatever, and seeing what was going on, and you may have stayed a little longer because you felt like it was a good thing, you were doing a good thing. Maybe you just went over there and helped the little bit of time that you could and you left. But you helped. And you gave something with nothing in return. You had other stuff that you had to do. But if you think about it, it kind of puts everything in perspective. When you do stuff for other people like that, you get a perspective of other people that are putting in all that time. You saw that person that's there. You know that person that's there that's going to do the double, triple shifts. That person's given everything and all they got. Way more than they got. And they might have stuff going on at home too that they have to take care of and get done. Or they may have cleaned their calendar to make sure that they helped out. And there's others that they got a whole 8 hours of work ahead of them when they go home, even after they worked 8 or 10 hours at that pancake feed. But they helped because that helped the organization. That furthered the cause. And that furthering the cause without worrying about what you got to get done and what yourself, what you have to do, there's selfless service. Doing as much as you can. And I think I'm going to quote Mahatma Gandhi again because he has another quote that is pretty good. Quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." End quote. Now that also speaks a lot and is truly something that you can feel. You will feel it inside. You'll feel good about it. You may be tired. You may be exhausted. But you'll feel good about it. It'll make you a better person. Selfless service can do nothing but make you a better person. Unless you take a look at the military side of it, and selfless service can mean you laid down your life to help the others and make sure the others survived. That also is another side of it. But I'm trying to concentrate more on the selfless service of after the military, after all that. And what happens when you're doing things for your organizations and things like that. Of course, we have the first responders and their selfless service, and that's in a whole nother side of it too, where they're like the military, where they've a fireman, he's laid out a blank check just as well as the military guy has. He's going to walk into that burning building and he's going to save your child. He's going to save your dog or cat. He's going to save something that's cherishable and means something to you, a person that you love. That's selfless service as well. And first responders, I think, sometimes don't get enough credit. And I really want to give a shout out right now to all first responders. Another shout out to all my brothers in arms, for that selfless service. It really sits in your heart knowing that they're out there doing that and why they do it, and that they're doing it for those of us that maybe can't anymore. Back to organizations. Now, there's some organizations that people, it seems like they feel that when they join, I've heard this a lot too, when recruiting or trying to get someone to join up to the organization. They say, well, I just can't dedicate enough time, and I wouldn't feel right just being a member and not dedicating any time or not being able to. When I hear that, it's like, you can be a member of the organization, and if you can't dedicate any time at this moment in time, yes, okay, understand. But being a member of the organization and getting involved by being a member and taking that next step when you can means a lot to organizations. I mean, if I was to go and talk about how much organizations are losing, I think I've already talked about this on one of my other podcasts, but the organizations are losing members massively. And it's just that a lot of it's a selfless service. And I got a dog barking. Yeah, that's the drawback of not having a soundproof studio, I guess. Well, no, this isn't a perfect podcast, folks. We're not out here recording in a perfect soundproof studio. So anyway, people not being able to, thinking, well, I can't put much time into that, so I don't need to be a member. Or I don't want to be a member because I can't put any time in, and I feel bad about it. Well, you're actually, by not becoming a member or not paying anymore or dropping out as a member of that organization because you say, well, I don't have any time to put into that. I mean, truly, is that $15, $25, $35 for a whole year of membership? Is that really hurting your bottom line? Yeah, you can't serve right now, but having that membership there helps the organization one way. And yes, they really need the help. They need people to get out there and serve and help do things that need to get done. But believe me, 50% of the battle is just having the members, period. And then the rest of it is trying to get the members that are there to help out at one point or another. I really like it when I see people that have joined the organization, they become the member to help the organization as a member, but you see them maybe once a year to help out with something. That's fine. They helped out. They did some service and helped us out or in doing something. So that works too. And I really encourage every single one of you that are listening to this to get out and help somebody, to help an organization, to help somebody that needs it in any way, shape, or form, without any expectation of getting something out of it, some kind of gratification. I mean, think about it. You're walking down the street in town and you see a meter that just ran out or something. Throw a couple coins in it and walk on if you got them in your pocket. Just feel good doing something, helping people. Well, I'm going to wrap up this segment, and we'll be talking to you shortly. We'll move on to our next segment, and we'll see you after the break. Have you ever wanted to express your beliefs by wearing a baseball cap? Many of us wear caps. Many of us fly flags in front of our house. Well, our friends at us-specialties.com have a great selection of what you want to have. Anything from military to first responder to faith or religious or even Second Amendment caps or flags you might want. You need to go out and check out us-specialties.com and put in discount code I am Nylis for a huge discount of 40% off everything store-wide. That's an amazing discount from an amazing company. Go out there and check them out at us-specialties.com. And don't forget the discount code I am Nylis for 40% off. You will be helping veterans. They thank you. Every day, we have the ability and opportunity to create a more accepting world by actively coming together and living inclusively. Even small acts of inclusion can have a big impact and make others feel loved and accepted. Because most people don't see themselves as part of the problem, they don't recognize that they can be part of the solution. Before anything else, we're all human. Start a conversation and create a deeper connections. Consider whose voices are and are not represented. Use inclusive, appropriate, and respectful language. As my grandmother used to say, respect those, and they'll respect you. Learn how you can come together at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council. Well, welcome back, everyone. And I do want to talk a little bit about the gig economy today. I do want to talk about how, actually the one point I wanted to make today was, it was brought to my attention, somebody had posted something and asked, why in the world would you want more than one driving service in your community? We currently have one, and some people are pushing for the second one to get here. And someone said, well, why do we want a second one? We're just fine with the one. And what they don't always understand is that there's people out there that are used to using one or the other, whether Lyft or Uber. We have currently Lyft in our town, and we don't have Uber. And there's a lot of people that travel that use Uber and prefer to use Uber. So there's going to be a lot more people potentially that go out and use the rideshare, and because they're able to use the one they like. So that's kind of why I see it as important that a second one comes to town, so that we have a little bit of competition. The one's not always being the only way to get around, other than taxis, of course, or your friends. But when it comes to the rideshare companies, having at least two of them there, I think it makes it better all around. I personally, just my feeling, I personally like driving Uber a little bit better than I do Lyft in some ways. They have some features for the drivers that's nice. Not so nice that seems like I make less when I drive for Uber than when I drive for Lyft, probably because in our neighborhood we have surges and primes and stuff. And where I've been driving Uber at, I haven't gotten any of that kind of stuff, or very rarely do I get any. So yeah, I just wanted to talk just a little bit about that today. Not trying to delve into the gig economy too deep this episode. So I'll let you go. As far as the gig economy goes, we're going to move on. And we will be back after a very short break. Have you ever wanted to express your beliefs by wearing a baseball cap? Many of us wear caps. Many of us fly flags in front of our house. Well, our friends at us-specialties.com have a great selection of what you want to have. Anything from military to first responder to faith or religious, or even Second Amendment caps or flags you might want. You need to go out and check out us-specialties.com and put in discount code I am Nylis for a huge discount of 40% off everything store-wide. That's an amazing discount from an amazing company. Go out there and check them out at us-specialties.com. And don't forget the discount code I am Nylis for 40% off. You will be helping veterans. They thank you. All right, folks. Well, thank you again for listening to I Am Nylis, and really want to thank all my listeners and supporters out there. It's always great to give you some content that might be interesting. So we talked about Selfless Service, and we talked a little bit about Uber and Lyft very shortly. But it was a good episode, I think, and we're going to wrap this up. And I hope to see that you're listening to this episode and maybe further episodes. So everyone have a good week. Just remember that you can reach us always at info@iamnylis.com or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/iamnylis, or on Twitter @iamnylis.